numbers, right? And so it's not the fault of the auditor. If they hide some, cardboard box in the parking lot without paying Semakau to take the waste, right? You're not going to find those things, right? So, and then after that, when you buy the business, you're the one that has to pay for the incineration fee. Anyway, all I'm saying is that I think there's a level of integrity that is necessary when you are selling your business as an SME. But you do not have to have perfectly clean financials. You do not have to have an impeccable growth and profitability story. It is really on the buyer to understand this is what generally the market looks like, and you have to accept the level of, I would say, lack of sophistication and risk that comes with buying some of the smaller businesses.
That's so interesting because we have an IPO specialist, and we have some buying SMEs, and then we have people who see the books, right? But just from your perspective, because you used to do bigger deals, right? Even help you're probably an investment banker before. What are the things that you used to care previously? Now, when you deal with SMEs, you don't care so much anymore. Like when you talk about the books, it doesn't have to be that good. How much are we talking about?
Yeah, it's funny. When I used to be an investor, I wanted the best management team, highest margin, most efficient processes, right? No declining years, stable cash flows. I want everything. And now, if I see all that, I know there's not much more I can bring to the table. So it's a negative, right? We talk about this thing called improvability in my line of work. Every company has a level of improvability. Of course, the most jalan ones are the ones that really distress ones that have the highest improvability, but you don't want to touch them anyway, right? So this is balance between a high quality business that you know you will not screw up, but still a decent amount of improvability that you would hope to go inside with. So I'm not paying such a big price, right? Because I'm paying a price on something that's not yet improved, and when I improve it, my effective price has come down, right? So I think that's the biggest difference, right? When before I would always, mostly you're never going to buy the whole company and take over. Mostly you're buying a share of an existing going concern that you have no control over. And a large investment firm like that, you don't care too much about improvability. Where I am at now, I allow the talkie to really just walk out the door and retire. I would love to be able to improve the business. So the improvability is something I look out for now.
Very cool. Improvability, that's the key. Show your weakness. Hey, this is what you can do better than me. And then I see it, I see that. So then the question back to Alice, right? So from your perspective, what differentiates those who scale rapidly and sustainably from those ones who grew too fast and then their stock crumbled after IPO?
I think most importantly is having the right foundations, right? Setting up the business with listing in mind, put in place a good corporate structure, internal control as well, keeping of course a clean book if possible, so that the gap during due diligence prior to the listing process is minimized, right? The other important aspect which I also mentioned earlier, I think having an experienced management team and an strong IPO execution team is also key, because preparation for IPO is actually a very long journey. You're looking at 6 to 9 months for capitalist listings and maybe 9 to 12 months for main stock listings. There are times where the management decided, okay, it's enough, right? I just put a stop, withdraw for infinite time. So I think having a strong team with everybody being aligned about what they want to do, I think that's important. And last but not least, being able to ensure that you can comply, right? And following all the different listing obligations subsequent to listing, it's very important. And having a CFO or an investor relation person, right, is also key, because being a public listed company, you need to reach out to the investors. In fact, we are also encouraging private companies to do some engagement way before listings to educate the investment community if you are in a business that people doesn't really understand. So all these are the various key factors that will actually determine whether ultimately you list successfully.
I think you brought up a really good point. So if you want to get ready for IPO, the process will take, let's say, a year, right? So that means probably 2 years before you think about IPO, you need to start engaging. So the whole process will take 2 years. Dennis, how long is your process?
Depends on how fast the target can move. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Do you write term sheets on the spot? Do you give them term sheets?
Look, I think behind your question is two questions, which is how fast we can act,
Yeah.
and how fast the seller is ready to act, right? I think what Alice answered was how long it takes for the seller, in this case the person going to IPO their business, how long they need to prepare, right? I think the SME world, it's also a similar timeline. You should think about, let's say if you want to sell your business 5 years from now, you should probably start preparing next year. Most of the work will be done finding the right buyer. It's a different thing, right? In Alice's case, as long as you check all the boxes, you can list. In this case, there's a lot of luck because where is that buyer going to be? Will you go through that process and somebody has cold feet, right? So you just gotta have enough buffer to go through 5 or 6 or 7 of these processes, where 90% of them will not go through and 10% of them will become your exit, right? So that becomes the biggest bottleneck time-wise for companies looking to sell. Of course, you still have to do the prep to get the books ready, which is more in Simon's world, and that will take a year, right? But again, I don't think at least that one is certain. Just like the IPO timeline, that one you can go through the process and somebody can just say, okay, this is done, this is done, this is done. At the end of the day, the M&A world, the uncertainty comes always in the interaction between the buyer and the seller. For us, we have all our equity already there, we have all our debt already there. Again, I can technically buy the business tomorrow. Yeah.
That's fast exit strategy. Reach out to you tomorrow. No, just kidding. So you both mentioned this very important word, due diligence, and get yourself ready for it. So Sima, given your experience, right? So we know that due diligence can really make or break the deal. And then normally when it comes to the process, you have buy-side due diligence and sell-side due diligence. From IPO's perspective, you're going to issue tons of other documents as well, right? So let's say everyone here in the room would think about exiting in the next 5 to 10 years. What are the top few things founders can do today to make a business exit ready? So let's say Dennis tomorrow want to buy 10 companies. Here's my DD and then here's my numbers.
Basic exit ready isn't being about the biggest company. It is about being clean. Investors want numbers they can trust. So step 1, financials. Reconcile the last 2 to 3 years of accounts and make sure all your documents are auditable, right? Lucky Coffee is a cautionary tale, right? Overstated revenue instantly destroy investors' confidence overnight. Step 2, fix structures and related party transactions. Make sure subsidiaries, shareholder loan and intercompany arrangement are clear. Again, Evergrande show how messy structures can create major delays and reduce confidence. Step 3, tighten basic control, revenue recognition, procurement. Nothing fancy, just a basic give business confidence that business can scale. Step 4, investor ready pack, prepare a story, key KPIs, forecasts and risk factors. Do a mock due diligence. Let your advisors talk through first, then fix them before investors do. So the key takeaway here is that clean numbers, clean structure, and strong governance, and a story backed by evidence. So even a smaller company can actually inspire investor confidence and even secure a better valuation.
Got it. it. Thank you very much. So then my next question is to Alice. So looking ahead, how is SGS evolving to support high growth companies and also especially those startups or regional players in accessing capital faster and more efficiently?
I think there are a couple of changes that you have seen, over the last couple of months. First of all, just recently, we actually have amended the listing requirement for our main board. One of the listing requirements, reducing the pre-tax profit, right, from 30 million to 10 million. That is to actually better support high growth companies which may not be profitable, thinking about listing on the main board. Of course, we are also very supportive. We have a catalyst platform which is more for the high growth companies. Companies with pre-revenue, non-profitable, can tap on catalyst. One great example would be the recent listing of Meta Optics, which is a 4-year-old startup. Barely have about maybe 100,000 revenue, not profitable. They were able to raise $6 million for their business. They actually skip the traditional way of fundraising from the private market, going through all the various CVs and directly to the public market. So fast forward today, after maybe 3 months or so, market capitalization has already is already close to 150 million. So that's about 3 times from the point of IPO. Another example would be Lam Chung Holdings. Right, Lam Chung Holdings has been listed in Singapore main board for the last couple of years. Market capitalization about 170 million. So recently they actually spin off one of their subsidiary called Lam Chung Creations. And for Lam Chung Creations, they managed to list on the Catalyst as well, at a market cap of about 70 million. Right now, if you were to check, the market cap is close to 150 million as well. So these 2 companies are ready to be transferred to the main board, right, within 2 years of their listings. Because, once you hit 150 million market capitalization, you can actually transfer from Catalyst to main board, after 2 years of listing. So that's one. The others is we are also moving towards a disclosure regime, right? Instead, something similar to the US. So on a disclosure regime, it will be much easier for companies to look at listing on SGX. That it will also be a single regulator reviewing the listing application, that is SGX Reco. MAS will no longer be involved in vetting of the IPO applications. I think third, what I wanted to highlight is also with the recent capital markets review group that was established last year, led by Minister Chee Hong Tat, right? There is this equity market development program of $5 billion that is rolled out by MAS to be given to a pool of asset managers. So the very first set of asset managers has been announced, a vendor, JP Morgan, Asset Management, as well as Fullerton, right? They will be investing into just Singapore listed stocks. So with this $5 billion of funds, I think many of the investors are actually front running it even before the funds has been deployed, right? So you look at our capital markets securities daily trading volume, right? It has gone up by 50% if you compare between January and let's say September, right? And then STI index has also hit all-time high. So as such, we find that with all these funds that is going to target and focus on just the SME, the small and mid-cap, where we classify from 100 million market capitalization to maybe 5 billion capitalization, that will actually increase the activities and volume of the trading.
Thank you, Alice. As we're wrapping up this panel, maybe we have one sentence takeaway for the audience what you want them to take home with, if they want to remember one thing from what you said. Let's go around.
Start your preparation early, be it whether you're looking at exiting via a listing or fix it.
Very good, thank you.
Work with your finance professional closely, treat them as your strategic partners, and you will scale fast without burning the company down.
Thank you.
There's another way to exit. We are a permanent holding company, so call me if there's SME to sell.
Thank you guys, that's it. And if you have more questions, please approach them after the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.